Hi, let's get curious about you. Today's question is, what if there was no you? Hope you're sitting down for this one. So, where is the you in you? Some think it's in your body. Some think it's in your brain. Some think it's a combination of the two. Well, would you still be you if I took your brain and put it in a vat where you could still think, of course, but you were no longer in your body? So if we removed your brain from your body and put it in a vat where it could still function, but it no longer had a body around it, where would you be? So here's an example to think about. Imagine a wooden ship, let's call it the Santa Maria. After a year of being out to sea, it gets badly damaged. So when it's back at the dock, workers find the damaged planks and replace them with new wood. The first time they fix it, there are many pieces to fix, maybe 50% of the ship. The next year, the workers fix the ship again. This time they outfit maybe 20% of the ship with new wood. The third year, there is a really bad storm and the workers have to replace 30% of the ship with new wood. So when the Santa Maria sails for its fourth year, it doesn't have any of its original wood. It all got replaced by the workers. So is the Santa Maria still the Santa Maria that sailed out 4 years ago, even though all of its planks and wood and other details have been replaced? If it isn't, well, where did the ship go? When did the change happen exactly? Was it the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year? So where did the ship go and when did the change happen? Or is it still the same ship? So here's the really weird part. Your body and mind are a lot like the Santa Maria. Every year you have cells that die and get replaced by new cells. Every year you learn new things and forget others. Do you exist through all of that? Do you constantly die and then are reborn? Is there no you at all? Are you the process of change, the shape of the river as water flows through? So there's a lot to think there about you, and not just who you are, but where you are and what makes you you. There is an activity, a kind of a fun activity to do with this, just called Talk to Friends, right? So ask around, see how people respond to the ship story about the Santa Maria. Tell them about over 4 years, everything getting replaced, and ask them, well, is it still the same ship? And if not, where did the ship go and when exactly did the change happen? And then see how they think about their own identities, especially when you explain the connection between the Santa Maria story or example with your own brain and cells. Do they think they live and die all the time, or do they think they don't really exist? Do they think we're all processes of change, or do they think something else? And just as importantly, what do you think about where you is? So we have an excerpt here for some deeper learning from a neuroscientist called David Eagleman. So among other things, David Eagleman is interested in personal identity. Like the question above of what if there was no you, he wonders where the you is inside your body and what makes it. So from David Eagleman, he writes, "We like to think of memories, our personal life memory, as being at the core of our personal identity. It's what gives us a narrative of our lives that we can share with other people and has meaning to us. But the bad news is that it is not a faithful record. Instead, it is part of the ever-evolving story of who you are." Who we are has so much to do with our experiences in the world. So if you look across cultures in the world, you'll find that people and cultures and ideas are very, very different from one another. And this is because brains, human brains, are born into the world not finished. They drop into the world with the capacity to learn, and from there, your experiences in the world tune up your brain circuitry on the fly. And so what that means is that so much of who you are has to do with your surroundings, your influences, your family, all these things you were born into, like your neighborhood, the culture you were born into. All of these are such an enormous part of personal identity. So again, it's maybe you is beyond just, your body and your brain. It's all of these outside influences you have no control over that you're born into. He goes on, we might have the fantasy that, let's say you were born 1,000 years ago. Well, what kind of person would you be? The fact is you wouldn't be you at all. You might look a bit like you depending on the nutrition available, but internally you wouldn't be the same person at all because fundamentally half of us is other people and our environment. So think about that question too. Along with this, what if there was no you? What if at least half of who you are isn't you at all, but it's about your environment and the other people around you? So in other words, if you were to travel back in time without having the same outside influences and people in your life you have today, you really wouldn't be the same person back in time that you are now. So I hope that gives you a lot to think about and wonder, and maybe even, I don't know about improve, but maybe grow your understanding of not just who you are, but maybe the influences you have on other people. It's a lot to think about this weekend, but hopefully it'll keep your curiosity going for some really deep insights that can be helpful. Keep healthy and stay curious.